You know what really grinds my gears? Watching preppers blow their entire savings on overpriced high-tech survival gadgets and fancy freeze-dried meals while completely ignoring the basics. The stuff that could actually save their family and their wallet. Let me tell you, I've been in the prepping game since 2014, and I've made my fair share of rookie mistakes. My biggest regret: wasting money on single units of everything instead of thinking strategically and buying in bulk. Here's the cold, hard truth. Prepping isn't just about stockpiling for the apocalypse anymore. With inflation hitting grocery stores like a wrecking ball, bulk buying is one of the smartest financial moves you can make right now. I tracked my spending for a year, and by switching to bulk purchases for just 17 key items, I saved over $3,000. That's real money. Money you can use to build your stockpile, pay off debt, or even enjoy life a little while you're preparing for the worst. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for item 114. It's something 90% of preppers completely overlook, and it could make all the difference. So, let's cut the fluff and dive into the 17 things every smart prepper should be buying in bulk. Heavy-duty garbage bags, the unsung hero of prepping. Let's talk about something that's criminally overlooked in the prepping world: garbage bags. And no, I'm not talking about those flimsy, tear-at-the-slightest-touch kitchen bags. I'm talking about the industrial-strength, heavy-duty, 55-gallon contractor bags that can handle just about anything you throw at them. Literally, these bags are so tough, they could probably survive a nuclear blast. Okay, maybe not, but you get the point. Why are they so essential? Because garbage bags aren't just for trash when the world goes sideways. They're one of the most versatile tools you can have in your arsenal. Back in 2014, during a brutal ice storm that knocked out power for a week, I learned this the hard way. Those bags became lifesavers. Emergency rain pontos, makeshift window covers, water collection systems, and even insulation layers for sleeping bags. They're like the Swiss Army knife of prepping, but cheaper and easier to store. For around $30, you can snag a box of 100 professional-grade bags. That's 100 potential solutions to problems you haven't even thought of yet. Need to waterproof your gear? Done. Want to create a privacy barrier in a crowded shelter? Easy. Need to haul contaminated debris or create a moisture barrier for your cold weather clothing? These bags have got you covered. Literally. And here's the kicker. They take up almost no space. You can stack 10 boxes in your storage area and barely notice they're there. That's 1,000 bags ready to tackle whatever life throws at you. If you're not stocking up on these, you're doing it wrong. Trust me. When the time comes, you'll be glad you have them. 2 batteries. The lifeblood of your electronics. If you're still buying batteries in those tiny 4-packs at the checkout line, stop. You're throwing money away. Batteries are one of the most critical items for any prepper, and buying them in bulk is not just smart, it's essential. Think about it. When the grid goes down, your flashlights, radios, and other essential devices are only as good as the batteries powering them. Here's what most people don't realize. Batteries, when stored properly, can last anywhere from 5 to 10 years. That means you can stock up now and be set for the next decade. And the cost difference between buying a 4-pack and a bulk pack of 48 is staggering. You're paying 3 times more per battery when you buy those little packs. It's a scam, plain and simple. So what should you be buying? Start with the basics. AAA, 9-volt, and those little button cell batteries that power everything from thermometers to key fobs. And don't just stick to alkaline. Invest in some lithium batteries as well. Yes, they're more expensive up front, but they last 3 times longer and perform better in extreme temperatures. When it's freezing outside and your flashlight is the only thing standing between you and total darkness, you'll be glad you spent the extra money. Storage is key here. Keep your batteries in a cool, dry place, preferably in plastic containers that are clearly labeled and organized. I keep mine in the basement, where the temperature stays consistent year-round, and whatever you do, don't store them inside your devices. That's a recipe for corrosion and wasted money. Batteries are the lifeblood of your electronics. Without them, all your fancy gadgets are just expensive paperweights. Stock up now, and you'll be ready for whatever comes your way. 3. Washcloths. The overlooked essential. Let's be honest, paper towels are a wasteful prep item. They're bulky, single-use, and run out faster than toilet paper did during the 2020 pandemic. That's where the humble washcloth comes in. A simple, reusable, and ridiculously versatile alternative that every prepper should stockpile in bulk. Here's why they're a game changer. You can grab a pack of 24 plain white washcloths for about $15, which is cheaper than most jumbo packs of paper towels. And unlike paper towels, these will last you for years with proper care. I'm not talking about the expensive plush ones from upscale stores either. The plain, no-frills kind from big box retailers work perfectly and get the job done without any bells and whistles. So what makes them so useful? For starters, their reusability. Use them, toss them in the wash, and reuse them again and again. They're perfect for tasks like cleaning, personal hygiene, and even first aid. Need to filter water in a pinch? A washcloth can handle it. Need a quick fire starter? An old, greasy washcloth burns like a charm. During the paper goods shortage in 2020, when others were scrambling for paper towels, I had no worries with my stash of 200 washcloths ready to go. And here's the kicker. They take up almost no space. You can fit a stack of 200 washcloths neatly into a single storage bin. Compare that to the mountain of paper towels you'd need to stock for equivalent use. It's no competition. If you're not already stocking up on washcloths, you're missing out on one of the simplest, most practical and cost-effective prep items out there. Trust me, once you make the switch, you'll wonder why you ever wasted money or storage space on paper towels. 4. White rice. The ultimate survival staple. When it comes to prepping, rice is an absolute essential. But not all rice is created equal, and white rice is the clear winner for long-term storage. It's cheap, versatile, and has an almost indefinite shelf life if stored correctly. Here's the deal. A 50-pound bag of white rice costs around $20. Buy it in smaller 1-pound packages, and you're looking at paying 3 times that amount. That's a 200% markup just for convenience, which is something you won't care about in a survival situation. The trick to making white rice last is proper storage. As soon as you bring it home, transfer it to airtight containers to protect it from moisture and pests. Adding a few bay leaves can help keep bugs at bay, and for serious long-term storage, Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers are the way to go. Follow these steps, and your rice can last up to 30 years, making it not just a prep but an investment in your future. White rice is also incredibly versatile. It's a base for countless meals from hearty stews to stir-fries, and it's easy to cook even in less than ideal conditions. Plus, it provides the carbs and calories you'll need to stay energized in a crisis. Lightweight and easy to transport, it's also ideal for bug-out situations. If you're not already stocking up on white rice, you're missing out on one of the easiest and most reliable preps you can have. Buy it in bulk, store it properly, and you'll have a staple that can sustain you for decades. Not just in emergencies, but also for day-to-day use. 5. Pasta. The carb king of prepping. Pasta is another essential staple every prepper needs to stock in bulk. It's inexpensive, filling, and has a long shelf life when stored correctly. But there's more to pasta prep than meets the eye. Getting the most out of it requires a little know-how. Here's the cost breakdown. A 50-pound bag of pasta runs about $30 when you buy in bulk, compared to the $1.50 per pound you'd pay for smaller packages. The savings are clear, but proper storage is where it gets tricky. Pasta is prone to infestations if not stored correctly, as I unfortunately discovered when I had to toss 50 pounds of spaghetti due to a moth infestation. The solution: transfer your pasta to airtight containers as soon as you bring it home. Adding bay leaves to the storage container can help deter pests. For longer-term storage, use Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers to keep it fresh for up to 20 years. Done right, pasta is a prepper's dream food, light, compact, and easy to store. Stick with the basics when stocking up. Spaghetti, penne, and macaroni are your best bets. They store better and are more versatile than fancy or specialty pastas, which often cost more and don't last as long. And here's a pro tip. Whole wheat pasta tends to last longer than traditional white pasta, because its natural oils act as preservatives. Pasta is a prepper's go-to for good reason. It's cheap, adaptable to countless recipes, and stores well when handled properly. Stock up during sales, store it smartly, and you'll have a dependable food supply that's ready for anything life throws your way. 6. Dehydrated beans. The protein powerhouse. If you're not buying dehydrated beans in bulk, you're basically burning money. Let me break it down for you. A 25-pound bag of pinto beans costs around $20. That's less than $1 per pound for one of the most nutrient-dense, protein-packed foods you can get your hands on. Compare that to canned beans, which can run you $3 per pound, and you're saving over 60% right off the bat. But the real magic of dehydrated beans isn't just the cost, it's the space they save. A single pound of dried beans is equivalent to about 6 cans of beans. That means you're cutting your storage needs by a factor of 6. And let's be honest, Space is a premium when you're prepping. Whether it's black beans, kidney beans, navy beans, chickpeas, or lentils, variety is key. Trust me, after 3 months of eating from your stockpile, your taste buds will thank you for mixing it up. Here's the kicker. Properly stored dehydrated beans can last 25 to 30 years. That's right, decades. All you need is some Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, or food-grade containers, and you're set. I've personally eaten beans that were 15 years old, and they tasted just as good as the day I bought them. Dehydrated beans are also incredibly versatile. They're not just for chili or soups. You can grind them into flour, sprout them for fresh greens, or even use them as a base for veggie burgers. If you're not stocking up on these, you're missing out on one of the most cost-effective, space-saving, and nutritious preps out there. 7 Coffee beans, the ultimate barter item. Let's get one thing straight. Coffee isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. And if you're not stocking up on whole coffee beans, you're making a huge mistake. I'm not talking about pre-ground coffee that goes stale faster than bread left out on the counter. I mean whole beans, vacuum-sealed and ready to grind. Here's why this matters. Coffee is one of the first things to disappear when supply chains break down. After Hurricane Maria in 2017, coffee prices in Puerto Rico tripled. People were literally trading generators for coffee. That's how valuable it becomes in a crisis. Whole beans last significantly longer than ground coffee. While ground coffee starts losing its flavor within weeks, vacuum-sealed whole beans can stay fresh for 2 to 3 years. And if you store them in a cool, dry place, you can stretch that even further. But here's the pro tip. Invest in a manual coffee grinder. For about $50, you can get a high-quality hand crank grinder that doesn't rely on electricity. When the grid goes down, you'll still be enjoying fresh coffee while everyone else is choking down instant. And let's not forget the barter potential. Coffee is addictive, comforting, and something people are used to having every single day. In a long-term crisis, it could become one of the most valuable trade items you own. Stock up now, and you'll not only have your caffeine fix, but also a powerful bargaining chip when things get tough. 8. Wheat berries, the long-term flour solution. If you're still buying flour instead of wheat berries, you're doing it wrong. Flour has a shelf life of 6 months to a year before it goes rancid. Wheat berries, on the other hand, can last 30 years or more when stored properly. That's not just prepping, that's long-term survival planning. A 50-pound bag of wheat berries costs around $30 and yields about 42 pounds of flour when ground. Compare that to the $4 you'll pay for a 5-pound bag of flour at the store, and you're saving over 70%. Plus, freshly ground flour is more nutritious and tastes better than the prepackaged stuff. But wheat berries aren't just for making flour. You can cook them whole like rice for a hearty side dish. You can sprout them for fresh greens even in the dead of winter. And here's a fun fact. You can pop wheat berries like popcorn for a nutty, crunchy snack. My kids love it. And it's a great way to mix things up when you're living off your stockpile. To make the most of your wheat berries, you'll need a grain mill. I recommend having both an electric mill for everyday use and a manual one as a backup for power outages. The investment is worth it, especially when you consider the versatility and longevity of wheat berries. If you're serious about prepping, wheat berries are a no-brainer. They're cheap, versatile, and built to last. Stock up now, and you'll be ready for anything. 9. Bulk meat, the freezer investment. Meat is one of the most expensive items in any prepper's budget, but buying it in bulk can save you thousands. I'm not talking about grabbing a family pack of chicken thighs at the grocery store. I mean buying a quarter, half, or even a whole cow directly from a rancher. Last year I paid $1,600 for half a cow. That gave me about 220 pounds of beef, ranging from ground meat to premium steaks. Do the math, that's roughly $7 per pound for grass-fed organic beef. The same quality meat at the grocery store would have cost me over $4,000. The key to making this work is proper storage. You'll need a deep freezer, preferably 2, one for your bulk meat purchases and another for everything else. And don't rely on the butcher's paper wrap. They're fine for a few months, but if you want your meat to last 2 to 3 years without freezer burn, you need to vacuum seal it yourself. Here's the thing. During the 2020 meat shortage, when ground beef was selling for $10 a pound in some areas, I was eating ribeye steaks from my freezer that cost me $5 a pound. That's the kind of foresight that pays off big time. Buying meat in bulk isn't just about saving money, it's about ensuring you have a reliable source of high-quality protein when times get tough. If you're not doing this, you're leaving money and food security on the table. 10. Cleaning supplies, the overlooked budget saver. Let's be honest, cleaning supplies are one of the most consistently overpriced categories in any retail store. If you're still habitually buying those small, conveniently sized bottles of bleach, dish soap, or laundry detergent, you're effectively getting ripped off. The markup on these small containers is frankly absurd, and what you're really paying a premium for is the convenience of a small bottle, not the value of the product inside. Consider this. A gallon of bleach typically costs about $3, while those little 32-ounce bottles often go for $2.50 each. A quick calculation reveals you're paying more than double per ounce for the privilege of the smaller size. Here's the smarter, more economical move. Buy your cleaning supplies in bulk. Better yet, seek out concentrated versions and dilute them yourself at home. For example, the commercial-grade laundry detergents used by hotels are a complete game-changer for household budgets. A 50-pound bucket of commercial laundry powder might cost around $40 and can easily last an average family of 4 an entire year. Compare that to the staggering $300 or more you'd likely spend on the same amount of detergent packaged in those fancy branded plastic bottles. And here's a bonus tip. Powder detergents have a nearly indefinite shelf life, whereas their liquid counterparts can separate, degrade, and lose their cleaning effectiveness over time. This principle holds true for all-purpose cleaners, sanitizers, and dishwashing liquids as well. You can skip the heavily marketed name brands and opt for bulk commercial options without sacrificing quality. They're just as effective at a fraction of the price. Stocking up on these essential supplies not only saves you a significant amount of money in the long run, but also ensures you're prepared for any situation where cleanliness becomes a top priority, even a matter of survival. 11. Toilet paper. The crisis commodity. Toilet paper. The item that became the ultimate, unexpected symbol of the chaos of 2020. We all vividly remember the madness, perpetually empty shelves, people hoarding rolls as if they were solid gold, and even shocking videos of fistfights in store aisles. It was a ridiculous and stressful time, but it taught us all a valuable lesson. Toilet paper is one of the very first household items to disappear in a crisis. Here's the practical deal. You don't actually need the fancy, ultra-soft, triple-ply, lotion-infused stuff. For preparedness, what you really need are the massive commercial rolls, the kind that are so big they barely fit on a standard home holder. They might not be as luxurious, but they last seemingly forever and cost a fraction of the price per sheet. To put it in perspective, a 6-month supply for a family of 4, approximately 96 large rolls, will set you back around $100. When you compare that to the exorbitant $50 some desperate people were paying for a single 12-pack during the 2020 shortage, the financial savings are obvious and substantial. The key to avoiding this panic is to always stay ahead of the demand. Maintain at least a 6-month supply on hand at all times, and you'll never have to experience the anxiety of running out. And let's be brutally real. Nobody wants to be forced to consider the alternatives when toilet paper is simply gone. Stock up now while it's plentiful and affordable, and you'll thank yourself later when the thence disruption occurs. 12. Bulk canned goods. The smart way to stockpile. Canned goods are a foundational staple of any prepper's pantry, but it turns out that most people are going about it all wrong. If you're just buying regular-sized cans from the grocery store during your weekly shop, you're wasting both money and precious storage space. The much smarter move, go for the big boys. Number 10. Cans. These are the large, restaurant-sized cans that hold about 5 pounds of food each. Here's exactly why they're a superior choice. A number 10 can of green beans costs around $6. To get that same quantity of food in standard grocery store cans, you'd need to buy about 7 of them, spending at least $15 in the process. Beyond the cost savings, consider the practicality. Handling one large can is significantly easier than juggling 7 smaller ones. It means less packaging waste, less hassle to open and prepare, and more savings in your pocket. You can typically find these larger cans at restaurant supply stores, through online bulk retailers, or even by simply asking your local restaurant manager where they purchase their supplies. Many of these wholesale places will sell directly to the public. They just don't actively advertise it. Make it a point to stock up on vegetables, fruits, tomato sauce, and especially shelf-stable proteins like canned chicken and tuna. These larger cans last just as long as their smaller counterparts, and once opened, you can easily transfer the contents to smaller airtight containers for refrigeration or even re-can them yourself into smaller portions. If you're serious about long-term preparedness, switching to number 10 cans is a no-brainer. They're more cost-effective, space efficient, and perfectly suited for your emergency food storage. 13. Oats, the survival superfood. Oats are one of the most versatile, nutritious, and cost-effective foods you can possibly stockpile, but I'm not talking about those little single-serving instant packets that are loaded with sugar and artificial preservatives. I mean whole rolled oats or steel-cut oats that you buy in bulk. A 50-pound bag, which sounds like a lot, costs around $35. This breaks down to a mere 70 cents per pound. That's an incredible steal for a food that is as nutrient-dense as it is adaptable. Oats are not just for breakfast, although they certainly make a hearty and filling meal to start your day. You can easily grind them into a nutritious flour for baking bread or cookies. Use them as a binder and extender in ground beef dishes like meatloaf or burgers, or even make your own delicious and healthy granola. And here's a pro tip that goes beyond the kitchen. Oats are great for your skin. A simple oatmeal bath can effectively soothe irritation from poison ivy, sunburn, or other common skin ailments. When stored properly in airtight containers and kept in a cool, dark place, oats can last for up to 30 years. They are packed with protein, fiber, and essential nutrients, making them an ideal staple for long-term survival scenarios. Historically, oats were a lifesaver for many families during the Great Depression because they were cheap, incredibly filling, and nutritious. If they were good enough to help people get through one of the toughest economic periods in modern history, they are certainly good enough for your emergency stockpile. Stock up on bulk oats now and you'll possess a versatile, long-lasting food source that can be adapted to almost any situation you might face. 14. Vitamins and supplements, the silent lifesavers. Here's a prepping truth that often flies under the radar. You can stockpile all the rice and beans you want, but without the proper vitamins and minerals, your body can break down faster than you'd think. Nutritional deficiencies aren't just relics of history. They're a real and pressing concern in any long-term survival scenario. Scurvy caused by a lack of vitamin C, or rickets, resulting from vitamin D deficiency, may sound like problems from a bygone era, but they're exactly what happens when diets are limited and lack key nutrients. And let's not forget anemia, which can result from insufficient iron or other vital nutrients. It's a very real threat when food variety is scarce. This is why vitamins and supplements should be a cornerstone of any serious prepper strategy. Essentials like vitamin C, vitamin D, multivitamins, and zinc are not luxuries. They're critical tools for survival. A small investment goes a long way. $30 can get you a year's supply of multivitamins for one person when purchased in bulk at warehouse stores. That's less than 10 cents a day to help keep your body functioning at its best during tough times. And here's something every prepper needs to know. Vitamins don't suddenly lose all their potency the moment they hit their expiration date. When stored in a cool, dark place away from heat and moisture, they can remain effective for up to 2 or 3 years beyond what the label says. So buy in bulk, stash them properly, and rest easy knowing you're covered. In a prolonged crisis, these tiny pills could be the difference between thriving and merely surviving. Don't overlook them, your body will thank you. 15. Cooking oil, liquid gold for preppers. Cooking oil is one of those everyday items you don't think much about until you run out of it, and then it's too late. It's not just for frying eggs. Oil is essential for cooking, calorie intake, and even serving as an emergency fuel source in a pinch. But when it comes to long-term storage, not all oils are created equal. Coconut oil is the MVP of prepper oils, and for good reason. It's naturally antibacterial, shelf-stable for up to 5 years, and remains solid at room temperature, making it easy to store and transport. A 5-gallon bucket of coconut oil costs around $60 and packs an impressive 15,000 calories per gallon. That's a lot of energy in a compact, shelf-stable package. Perfect for long-term needs. Olive oil is another solid choice, but it requires a bit more care. To extend its shelf life, store it in dark containers and keep it in the coolest, darkest spot you can find. Proper storage is key to ensuring it doesn't go rancid too quickly. On the other hand, vegetable and canola oils, while cheap, don't hold up well over time. They spoil quickly and aren't worth dedicating precious storage space to. Having the right oils in your stockpile isn't just about cooking, it's about survival. Whether you're frying up a meal, using oil to fuel a makeshift lamp, or adding much-needed calories to your diet, a steady supply of cooking oil is non-negotiable. In a crisis, it's not just an ingredient, it's a lifeline. 16. Salt, the eternal essential. Salt is one of the most undervalued items in the prepping world, and that's a mistake. It's absolutely essential for survival, and not just for seasoning your food. I'm not talking about fancy pink Himalayan salt or gourmet sea salts, though those are nice to have if you can afford them. Plain old table salt and canning salt are where it's at when it comes to prepping. Here's the beauty of salt: it never goes bad. Ever. It's one of the few items you can store indefinitely without worrying about expiration dates. Salt has been used for thousands of years to preserve food, balance electrolytes, and even clean wounds. A 50-pound bag of salt costs about $8 when purchased in bulk, compared to the $50 you'd spend buying the same amount in those small round containers at the grocery store. It's affordable, versatile, and indispensable. Salt's uses go far beyond cooking. You'll need it to preserve meat, ferment vegetables, and prepare food that's both safe and palatable during long-term crises. But it doesn't stop there. It's also crucial for making homemade electrolyte solutions, cleaning wounds in an emergency, and even as a valuable trade item. Throughout history, salt has been as valuable as gold. In fact, the word salary comes from the Roman practice of paying soldiers in salt, a testament to its importance. Personally, I keep at least 200 pounds of salt in my stockpile. That might sound excessive, but it's surprisingly manageable. It takes up just 4 or 5 5-gallon buckets. In a long-term crisis, having a robust supply of salt can mean the difference between just getting by and truly thriving. Don't underestimate it. It's far more than just a seasoning. 17. Vinegar, the multi-purpose miracle. If you're not stocking up on vinegar, you're missing out on one of the most versatile and budget-friendly items you can add to your prepper stash. Whether it's white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or cleaning vinegar, this stuff is truly a multi-purpose miracle. White vinegar is an absolute powerhouse for cleaning, sanitizing, and deodorizing. At about $3 per gallon, it's one of the most cost-effective solutions out there. Compare that to the tiny 16-ounce bottles that can cost up to $12, and the savings are obvious. Use it to clean windows, disinfect surfaces, or even as a natural weed killer. It's a prepper's dream for keeping things clean and safe. Apple cider vinegar, especially the kind with the mother, is a health-boosting gem. It supports digestion, balances blood sugar, and has natural antibacterial properties. During the 1918 flu pandemic, people who regularly consumed apple cider vinegar reportedly had lower infection rates. Is that just a coincidence? Maybe, but for $3 a gallon, there's no harm in having it on hand as part of your health arsenal. Vinegar is also a key player in food preservation. Use it to pickle vegetables, make homemade sauces, or even as a marinade. It's been used for centuries to preserve and enhance food, and its uses don't stop there. Historically, vinegar has been a go-to remedy for sore throats, disinfecting wounds, and tackling countless household problems. Stock up on vinegar by the gallon and store it in a cool, dark place. It'll last for years and give you solutions for just about any problem that comes your way. Cheap, effective, and endlessly useful, vinegar isn't just a convenience. It's an absolute necessity in any well-stocked prepper's arsenal.